Supermarket trolleys are a real triumph of design. They stack together when not in use, and they make ideal temporary dams and fish breeding containers in most of our local waterways. They also make excellent paint removers because, let's face it, their directional stability, especially when loaded, leaves a great deal to be desired.
Oops. Well, this is one car that seems destined to have more than its fair share of shopping trolleys gouging down the side. It's Peugeot's new baby, the 106, and the Peugeot marketing whiz kids say that more than 65% of the 106 drivers are likely to be women. Now, that's hardly surprising when you consider that the Peugeot 205, the model that was introduced some 8 years ago and literally saved Peugeot from financial ruin, has always been a firm favourite with women.
The little Peugeot is aimed at the heart of the most important car segment in Europe, the small car market. In Britain, small cars took 26% of the total market last year, and their share is increasing. The vast majority of those, 2/3 in fact, were three-door hatchbacks, like this 106. Now, obviously, with such a huge market, there's going to be some intense competition. Bestseller in the sector is Ford's Fiesta, followed by Rover's Metro, the Peugeot 205, the Vauxhall Nova and the Nissan Micra. Those 5 cars make up more than 70% of the market, and it's those 5 the 106 has to crack if it's to succeed.
It's tempting to dismiss the 106 as yet another Euro buzzbox, but in fact it's a car with distinctive personality and it's great fun to drive. It doesn't have quite the same skateboard-like road holding of the 205, but it's very agile, holds on well in the corners and has more than adequate performance, a respectable top gear and a good 0 to 60 time. It's not enough to keep you ahead of the hot hatchback boy racers, but it's certainly more than enough to keep you fizzing around city streets, well up with the traffic.
There are 4 models in the range. This is the XR, fitted with the familiar 1124cc engine mated to a 5-speed gearbox. It's the same combination you find in the 205 and, incidentally, in Citroën's AX, a car which the companies swear blind is totally different to the 106, but in fact shares the same floor pan and over 1,000 components.
Very clean and neat design, but surely the stylists have done something wrong at the back end. Those rear light clusters, and especially the indicators, are just too small for modern traffic conditions. Lots of head, elbow and leg room inside the 106. The seats are very supportive and quite comfortable over long distances. And I particularly like the radio. It's been designed exclusively for the 106. That means there's no point in nicking it. It won't fit any other car. But one major grumble for a car allegedly designed with women in mind: whoever put in these ludicrous door handles? They're very stiff to operate. All the women I showed the car to complained vociferously about them and said they would break their fingernails.
Now, while the Peugeot 205 enjoyed great success, it did have a bit of a reputation for being flimsy. It tended to develop squeaks and rattles, and the crash repair boys take a dim view of its ability to absorb an impact. Peugeot were obviously keen that this perception didn't rub off on the new car. It's in fact a much sturdier body shell with more sound-deadening material in it, and they paid a great deal of attention to the way it's built. The dashboard, for instance, is assembled off the car and then inserted into the shell by robots to avoid shakes and rattles. It's a good-looking little car on the road. It appears wider than in fact it is, and it retains the 205 wheel-at-each-corner appeal. It's also very easy to drive, and already a lot of driving schools are looking at it with interest.
Peugeot say that fuel consumption is a major purchasing decision in this class. Sounds unlikely to me because most of the top small cars are very close together on consumption figures. While the 106 is good, it's not exactly light years ahead of the opposition. One thing they have changed, though, over the 205, they deleted that very useful 11-gallon tank and made this just 9.9. And I think that's a pity.
But don't run away with the idea that this is purely a town car. It performs admirably on the motorways. OK, it's a bit noisy at high speed with some engine boom and a fair bit of road noise, but I climbed out after a 200-mile cross-country run without feeling in the least stiff or cramped. It's a good, fun little car. So to sum up the Peugeot 106 XR, we liked that specially adapted radio, the internal space in the car, and the sprightly performance. We didn't like those silly door catches. We thought the tail lights were too small for city traffic, and it was a bit noisy at high speed.